and the skyrocketed prices. I know that from Nekani, Mom, Jola is really, wherever they are, they're really struggling. But on a more serious note, I think this is something very important. Rams are very, very expensive, and like you said, it's not a force. But, because of the way we are, the way we live, our setting culturally, traditionally, we're tempted sometimes to actually get these things done, even though we know that it is not forced. But we still want to do it because our next door neighbor is doing it. So, lolu mo de sonal a lot of people, even though I cannot do it, dina dem lebi ji but dina ko am. And who says you can lep and put am hari juli, hari tobaski? So, I mean, cut your coat according to your cloth or size, if you may want to say. Yeah, I think for me that is it.
So, Mr. Momodu Mboj, how has Tobaski been, on your side?
Has been Tobaski been on my side?
I just want to know how
very similar
because one thing I've realized, what people bother themselves, doing, you don't bother yourself much, You are more of that reserved type on social events. I don't know if Tobaski is the same.
Well, I'm a minimalist. Let's put it that way. I like minimal involvement in things, as it were, stuff like that. But I get excited just as other people, Of course, when I was younger, far more so than now, obviously. But still, all these sort of excitement around, you catch it. It's like cold, isn't it? When people around you catch it, give it to you, have it, and then you catch it. So I get excited just as everybody else. No. Not yet.
Not yet. But dinko jinda.
You see.
Dinenyo barbecue.
Mr. Mboj de su jende Tobaski har. Julde. Bobu ñun ñoy dem ñu grill har bi kiram. So Tobaski, it's also a day boo xam ne nit ñi dañ war a fiix. Understand nga xol yi dañ war a fii xale yi kontaan ku nekk lekka ba suur moo tax suñ diine bi mu ne soo rendee xar sa néebo reyut dogal si yàppa bi nga jox ko understand nga because dañ war a see xar bi understand nga at some point it's a special day boo xam ne tam it comes once a year so pour nga spend si day boobu tam loolu dafa war pour nga def ko waaye soo ko mënut tam can force it langa def ko so
wow, when again I can force it a little bit. We all know that social pressure.
That's what I'm
Socially,
saying.
people will always do these things. It's almost like a force. Sometimes certain norms. And ample safe face. You and your neighbors, I don't know, your family, whoever. So people will do all sorts of things.
Mr. Mboj, very interesting.
Wow,
very interesting. Hamga Motanak, we are going through a lot as a people, because my neighbor, did this, I have to do it. My neighbor bought a big ram, I have to buy a bigger ram. In fact, I cannot afford 24,000 to buy a ram, but I have to go and borrow. I have to go and enter into dubious acts to be able to purchase a Tobaski ram. And okay, fine, what happened? You slaughter it a day, the second day passed, and every day a person is knocking at your door, I need my money. You see, the biggest thing I hate and I feel embarrassed when someone knock at my door and try to request for their money or payment. I feel very embarrassed. So it's better for me not to get, And I've also moved from a stage whereby, okay, to look at my neighbors, what they have, and I need to put it. Man come tay dama ko waxon ci kaw mané suma amu Tobaski ram I am going to buy a Tobaski goat. Understand? Some people are like, I'm going to buy a goat.
Meat is meat, trust me. And so long as it makes you
happy. How many years? We were relying on the ram that the Prophet slaughtered for us. Xam nga ñu ne Prophet ñaari xar la reyoon. Benn bi mu ne pour ummaam bu amut. Ñun many years ago, comme at yu bëri si gannaaw bu ñu nekkee xale, ñun we were relying on si xari Prophet bu mu xeeni. This means we don't even get, ñun dañ jóg ñu amoon na at yoo xam ne ñun we don't get Tobaski ram. We rely on people to slaughter. Then you indil ñu. Xam nga, so if you get to a stage whereby you can afford Tobaski ram, you can buy. In fact, so buge mun nga jëna ñaari harsa, understand nga. So man duma dee toppa society nu mel. I do things according to xam nga. Doo doon am nga béy. Santal Yàlla.
Absolutely.
Understand? So buñ force suñ
so I mean the courage to be like that, absolutely mo gën ci yow de. Why a lot of people yenn xalaat yi, social xalaat yi, you know, their drives and action far more than that. Yeah, when you have the courage to do that, absolutely.
Imagine nga am ñeneenti jabar.
Honestly,
nga war a dem jawar bu nekk nga rendil ko xar.
It's more reason why you should stick to one. Economy, it's too hard.
yaa ngi dégg politique bi mu ñëw isul foofu.
It's a more reason why you should stick to one.
Connect to the economy.
Wow.
It's the economy is stupid.
The economy is hard.
Okay, let's deal with the proverb. The eyes that see the king no longer fear the clerk. How's a proverb? The eyes that see the king no longer fear
not long ago, actually.
Yes.
Wow.
Whoever is compiling these things, is writing these things daily, you're repeating. It's becoming repetitive.
I'll give a warning letter to Jibril.
Yes, it is becoming repetitive. We dealt with this one not long ago, really.
Right.
Yes. So, you know, let's still go through it, Mr. Mboj.
Absolutely.
Let's just put some sense out of this.
Absolutely. Let's see the king. You no longer fear the clerk. Absolutely. When you've dealt with power or you face great things, then the smaller ones don't intimidate you as much.
Right.
Generally,
during Jammeh's time,
generally, that's how I see it.
Ñun gis nañ time dictator, gis nañ democracy. Understand nga? So we have feel that vibe, you know. We have tasted the waters.
Absolutely.
So xam nañ ko. So léegi mu ngi mel ni we don't think lu garaaw lu ëpp lu Jammeh doon def fii dinañ ko experience at ñaanuñ Yàlla ñu experience ko. You know, so you know, it's about experience. When you go through hurdles, when you go through ups and downs, you should be able to man over the easiest ones.
Yes, experience in that sense. Yes, perspective. It gives you perspective, you know, from then you grow, isn't it? You grow as a person. Absolutely. Yeah, that's one application politically. Gis nañ Jammeh, gis nañ Jawara. Now we've got Barrow. So we've seen the best of worlds, the best and the worst. We've had, you know, you were among the best at one time, at another time you were among the worst. Now where are we? Halfway? I don't know.
Half and half, maybe.
I don't know where we are now.
No, trust me, we don't know. So it's an interesting proverb. For me, I think it goes to show that when you experience certain things in life, maybe hurdles, hardship, you know, you are not really, there are certain storms, if they come your way, you're not really bothered because you know that is a passing storm, it is bound to go away and then you will regain yourself again. You know, I think challenges are good. Sometimes, you know, hardships, you know, also for me, I think are good because it makes you realize your potential as an individual. It makes you also discover yourself, you know, how far your strengths, your weaknesses, and, you know, how much you can endure as an individual. So I think they're good, you know, when you see the good, best, the worst, and everything, as an individual, you'll be able to actually handle whatever comes your way. You'll build that self-resilience. You'll be a resilient person to actually conquer whatever comes your way. So when you see the king, you no more fear the clerk. Like all these small storms, if they come your way, you see it as, it's normal, it's part of life. I mean, challenges are part of life, failure is part of life. So, but if you're scared of failure, if you're scared of challenges, you'll not move anywhere.
That's it. And the other side as well.
Right.
If I achieve great things, smaller, petty doubts wouldn't move me.
doesn't.
It wouldn't move me at all. So that sort of thing as well, the suffering bit and all of that.
Right.
Yes, once you've experienced certain things, then you learn to distinguish really what matters from what is petty, what is of primary importance, and what is of secondary or even tertiary importance, really. So that's it. Putting things in their right places, as it were. Everything has its just emphasis, as it were. So that's essentially it.
Yeah, absolutely. I believe that we handle situations based on the experiences we have. For instance, you see someone encounter certain things and you will be wondering, like, how does the person survive this? But maybe you don't know they survived something greater than that. You know, but you tell yourself, even if it were me, I cannot really survive it because you have not gone through it. You know, you don't know how it feels. But because the person has gone through worse, they will definitely cope with it. So I think that is really important. Situations, we handle it based on the experiences and the things that we've gone through.
Now, that's important that's interesting there about surviving difficult circumstances. Generally, most people will adapt to survive. You don't know a person's character when we are in such dire situations. You don't quite know my character. Do you know really when you know my character? When you've given me options, I've got choices. Which one would I take? It's really where I demonstrate my character, you know what I mean? Not necessarily the survival, the suffering bit. Most people, we adapt. A lot of people do suffer, you know what I mean? That's it. So we will adapt to whatever circumstances that present themselves. But if you want to know my character, give me power or give me freedom, ooh, that's really when you know me.
Absolutely.
Not when we are suffering.
I totally
really.
agree.
Exactly, yeah. So thank you. Be reminded you are watching QTV this morning, and I am Ibrahim Abalde. I'm with Julden Jai and Mr. Momodu Mboj. It's our newspaper review guest. You can send your comments and contribution on our social media handle. Of course, we will read it out for you. On that note, we'll take a short break. After the break, then the program continues. We'll be right back.
QMoney is back again with its easy-to-use, secure and convenient mobile app that allows you to carry out all your transactions. No matter where you are or what time it is, you can always access your funds. With the new QMoney app, you can cash in and out, buy credit, buy QPower, shop, make payments, and so much more. You can also send QMoney, pay bills, receive international remittances, and transfer cash to others. Just download the app from your Play Store or App Store and get started. For more information, call customer care on 133. QMoney, Sinu Kalpe. We innovate, others follow.
Oryx Gas, the energy that brings us together.
Powered by Africa, Oryx Energies.
QCell mooy suñu boss. QCell mooy suñu boss. QCell mooy suñu boss. Soro. Go, ebe dawa full network suda tili. QCell. Ni lafta diamla wati jamala mune diata. QCell. Most reliable network jumala keta wati. QCell. Wo quality man nyon soda jam ona manke QCell. Hanibe wulo ni farole kono walante be bako na jala fayola network ko se taria. QCell suñu boss. Nyo finjeka indi 3G ñu delu taxi 4G plus and now we bring you 5G. 5G. First and only 5G provider. Itella follow adi doron nesa keno. Gambia bela nyon tawo fele QCell. Ko fasunta buka busi QCell. Itella molti milka kukutol nati Gambia. QCell meta lori la kiliano liele imanyina amanda wala itella ka quality dila dadima itelle silo wala wodol mume be kenoma. QCell sunibus. QCell, Sunny Bus, QCell, Sunny Bus, QCell, Sunny Bus. Connection of a bambandi QCell, Sunny Bus, QCell most innovative QCell, Sunny Bus.
We are back. You're watching QTV this morning. I am Ibrahim Abalde and I am with Julde Njai and of course Mr. Momodou Mboj, our newspaper review guest. And sitting side by side with Mr. Mboj is Mr. Adedrame, the man in green. Are you APRC?
I was trying to echo that,
Mr.
Chair, but I didn't quite get it.
Mr. Ade, are you APRC?
Yes, if you ask the question.
You know why I ask?
A silly question.
Because in the Gambia, when you wear colors, I mean, people tend to associate you with different things. When you see yellow, you think it's UDP.
They politicize
As
color.
color, you see, you think about UDP.
Yeah.
So it's color politics.
Yes, it. And now somebody's going to take that clip of you asking me and me answering, and it's going to go viral.
And they'll be like, okay,
yes, and it'll be all your fault.
Is this? So we are back, and thank you for joining us, Mr. Adedrame. We'll go straight to the newspaper review. We want to review it today.
Yeah.
Today would be a very interesting newspaper review. We are having, you know, two professionals sitting next to each other. And we also have Aliou Cisse, currently in the Abuja, attending the ECOWAS 50th anniversary.
But he's there for the parliament.
For the parliament.
It just happens to
so we'll talk about the 50th anniversary as well.
Which is today.
Yeah, so Aliou Cisse, how are you doing?
Good morning, Mr. Bande and everyone there.
Why, do you have to wear your glasses?
We can't hear you, Aliou.
Joining you on the program.
We can't hear you, man. You look nice, by the way. What are you eating? Are you eating fufu
Aliou,
and kenke? Are you eating
are you
egusi and bitter leaf?
Aliou, we can't hear you.
I wish we can talk to Aliou.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're getting you now.
But it's echoing.
Can you hear me now?
Go ahead.
Thank you very much, Bande. It's a pleasure to be part of the program this morning, and very warm morning from Abuja to board of all of you there in the studio of Kinabaha.
Yes, it's good to have you here. I mean, you're talking about the ECOWAS Parliament, and of course we'll also talk about the 50th anniversary of the ECOWAS as well. As you know,
I can hear you, Bande.
Yeah, so we'll get back to Aliou Cisse. So let's go with the newspaper review, Julde.
Right.
Yes.
So we have quite some interesting headlines. We have the Standard, Foroya and Point. The main headline on the Standard newspaper reads, Kurang demands $200 million compensation from Ami Bensouda for alleged defamation.
What I can remember, a few weeks back, Ami was threatening to sue Kurang.
144 million.
So now he's demanding $2 million for defamation.
Counter-suing.
Yeah. Interesting.
Times ahead.
Yeah. So, Mr. Boj.
The ping pong.
Ping pong.
Yes. Well, we'll see. Where would this go? There's a threat of going to court. I think so far they haven't initiated really the process of going to court. So now it's a media game. They seem to be playing their game sort of in the media first, perhaps, before they go to the courts. I do not know. I'm just waiting for, what do you call it, the investigation by National Assembly, National Audit Office. We're really interested in what really happened, as it were, during that asset sales. So that's really what I'm interested in. I want to get to the facts. So these two, I have no idea what was going on.
Yes, I mean, it's what the British used to say that, you know, they kind of, it's a threat only in quotes, you know, and the joke was that they'll say, stop, or I'll shout, stop again. It's like, stop or I'll do something. It's like, do something, So as we said, there's the threat of, somebody suing and then somebody counter-suing.
Yeah.
And of course, all these huge figures being bandied about. I mean, it's a kind of new thing these days. In America, it was where it started that I could say, I'm going to sue Julde for this amount. In British courts, you couldn't state the amount for which you were going to sue somebody. The court would decide. But now it's become a thing almost globally now, where people say, I'm suing you for this amount for the damage to my reputation or whatever damage has been caused to my reputation. So I think that's where we are now. But nobody has actually sued anybody yet.
Yes, but I mean, I think also the threat of suing a person with that huge sum of money, I mean, I think they'll look at the individual and know, okay, probably this is what I can sue this individual for, this amount of money. Because you cannot look at Balde and sue me 200 million.
I could. I'd have to sell you and all your family to
get
my 200 million. It doesn't work like that. But yeah, I mean, these figures are such kind of outlandish figures that you rightly imply there. How realistic are they that they're going to sue somebody for that amount? Has that person even got that amount? So what's the point? It could bankrupt them if the court does find that they should pay that sum. Because the court could, a court could determine that. But that's for the courts.
Yeah. So I mean, it will be important for us to, talk about the Serekunda market saga between vendors and those doing the wanter. I mean, it's really. I watched the video several times to determine whether this is Serekunda market actually.
And whether it was this year.
Yes, and actually it's Serekunda market.
Yeah.
Each and every, when you look at the two parties, each and every party, I mean, they have their reasons of doing, business. I mean, I don't want you to sell in front of my shop because you're taking all my customers. But this is wanter again. Wanter is known to be a tradition in the Gambia. I mean, stopping it will hinder a lot of activities as well. But I think the council should have provided a special place for wanter, where these vendors can go and do their own.
wanter somewhere else. I mean, they had something at the stadium on Saturday, which was described as wanter. But people know that people go to the market anyway, every day. And they go to those shops every day. So they know that that's a thing. Some people are not going to go out of their way to say, oh, just because they've got a stadium for them for those 10 days, I'm going to go to the stadium. Because it means you're having to make 2 journeys because you're probably going to go to the market anyway for other things. Now I have to go to the market and then I have to go to the stadium or somewhere else. People are not going to do that. And so these people these kind of impromptu vendors, they know that they're going to get a ready market, a ready flow of customers, and it's, so they can say, oh, it's only for 10 days, but for the shopkeepers, those 10 days are equally crucial.
Yes.
Because people buy a lot of stuff in those 10 days, so it's one, as you say, it's a tradition. It's not going to go anywhere. And we'll have this every year. We didn't have it in Serekunda last year because they were doing the clear the road thing, and so they stopped them doing it there. But they just went and did it somewhere else.
That's it. We've had this for good.
Since I've been here.
We've always had
wanter.
This sort of thing. And the tension between the shopkeepers and the vendors outside, people who do sell their stuff outside. So we've had this for a while. One would have thought that maybe the council would have come up with some regulation, as it were, to control that, but it seems not. It seems nobody knows what to do about it. This year, things just got to a head, so it sort of flared. But we've had this. Maybe this will be the cue for the council to come and say, "That's it. This is the regulation.
Let's find a solution.
Let's find a solution to this.
Enough.
Where can you be enough is enough? Otherwise, it could lead to something that we all regret."
You see, I pay my shop. And I pay my taxes. I do a lot of things. I pay electricity. I mean, it will not be fair, for you to come and sit, next to my shop.
You pitch literally outside my shop.
And you start without paying anything.
And you're selling some of the goods that I might be selling as well.
I might be selling. And the visibility is very important. At some point, you can see accessing it outside would
if
have
I
been
can buy it
very
on the
easy.
street, why would I go into the shop?
Into the shop.
So yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
as Mboj says, you know, we do need to find a kind of thing for this kind of tension, because every year we keep hearing, like that's why I said even when the video was going around, people were saying, well, is that this year or is it a previous year? Because it just tells you the story that this is something that is a recurring problem. And I'm not sure anybody's come up with a solution yet.
I think yeah, there is, because the mayor of KMC, Talib Ahmed Bensouda, issued a release to say that there is a space that they are constructing, but Padembo is within the market vicinity. They said that he said that those vendors can go there and then sell their wanter, and according to him, over 200 vendors can really occupy the space. So I think that is a short-term solution.
You've heard the phrase, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink.
Right.
They can build all they want, but these people, these impromptu vendors, they know, and I keep saying this, it's not, they don't want to go somewhere else.
No.
They want to go where they know people are always going to come, because there are shops there already, and there's a through flow of customers, and that's the kind of, you know, conundrum. You know, how do you solve it? I mean,
that's it. And without the enforcement regime, when
One
they come there, nothing's going to happen.
You see, wanters happen everywhere. Even in France, wanter happen. They do wanters in France. I was surprised to see people parked a lot of things in the streets, and there was a lot of wanter. Most of the wanters are done by the Senegalese in France.
It depends. I mean, you have people, if I'm outside a Louis Vuitton shop, it's very unlikely that I'm selling what Louis Vuitton is selling inside his shop, or Yves Saint Laurent. You know, so they're not competing directly, and that's the difference. Here, we're talking about people competing directly
with the
same products,
quality,
and that's why
different prices.
Different prices,
So
much cheaper prices, because they don't have all the overheads of rent, tax, electricity, and so on. They don't have all of that, and so they can just pitch up.
But I think they're paying taxes. They're paying. I think they're paying $500.
500. One of them said they're paying
for the 10 days.
Yeah. Which tells you that somebody's encouraging them to do that.
Yes, yes.
You know, because if I'm saying to you, you know, give me $500 and you can pitch up outside this shop, then I'm encouraging you to do exactly that.
In a way, you're legitimizing it. If it is from the council, you're definitely legitimizing it.
Exactly. So now we'll head to the next segment of this program. ECOWAS 50th anniversary, and we have the video which will be playing on the program shortly, and later we'll talk to Aliou Cisse, and you know, we will, I mean, interact in the studios, and Ali would take us through. Yeah, so let's take a look at the video. We'll be back.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are welcome to the official launch of the 50th anniversary celebration of ECOWAS, which of course will announce activities marked for this 50th anniversary celebration.
Our objective is to celebrate, reflect, and recalibrate our community. Nothing is worth celebrating more than ECOWAS's role in peace and security in the region. I remain optimistic that we will collectively preserve and build on the gains of regional integration. Long live ECOWAS, long live West Africa, long live Africa.
Remarkably, our journey over the past 5 decades has not been without challenges, but we remain undaunted. We shall not relent in our commitment to a united, peaceful, purposeful, and prosperous West Africa.
In 1975, our founding fathers, faced with fragmented economies and fragile political landscapes, chose the path of cooperation over competition and rivalry. Their vision was clear. It was one to pursue our development not as isolated nations, but as a united community. Since then, ECOWAS has grown to become a key diplomatic and political force in Africa. Through consistent engagement, dialogue, and mediation, our community has earned a reputation as a trusted arbiter in conflict prevention and resolution.
Your Excellencies, we invite all member states, institutions, partners, and the people of West Africa to participate actively, to share our common stories, to chart together the path towards a stronger, more resilient, more united ECOWAS, and to keep the ECOWAS and African unity dream alive.
I am truly honored today to briefly present to you the logo of the ECOWAS at 50 and the theme of our Golden Jubilee. The logo blends the existing ECOWAS identity with celebratory elements to mark the significant 50-year milestone, our Golden Jubilee. The theme of the celebration is Stronger Together for a Brighter Future. The theme highlights the power of unity, regional cooperation, and shared commitment among ECOWAS member states as the foundation for building a prosperous, peaceful, and sustainable future for the people of West Africa. It is a vision, a commitment. It reminds us that despite our linguistic, cultural, and historical differences, West African countries continue to share a common identity, able to shape a brighter future for present and future generations to come.
We are back. You're watching QTV this morning. A very fascinating video there. I mean, I wish, I mean, how fascinating the video is. I mean, ECOWAS activities are also fascinating
like that.
like that. I mean, Mr. Ade.
Well, they are. In fact, they're more fascinating than the video.
I don't know.
Well, I'll tell you why. I mean, you know, this thing. You know, I've done a piece which we may or may not use on the news tonight, and I've said we should use it to reflect. And one of the things I think we should reflect on, I was tempted to say we should send Corker out to actually do a kind of street talk on ECOWAS. Because when they launched this 50th, they said they wanted to be not just today's celebration, but a year of celebration. And I wanted him to ask one question. There are 15 founding fathers. A, how many of those can people name? And B, who is the only one who's still alive?
Sorry, I don't even know that.
You see? And so we live in the ECOWAS region, and yet we're not even teaching that.
You know, sometimes it can be because of many factors. You understand? So we are seeing pictures of the founding fathers. I mean, I think
Yakubu Gowon is the only one who's still alive.
He's still alive.
He's still alive.
All right. So over the 50 years, I mean, as ECOWAS achieved their goals, I mean, why was it formed, and was this achieved over the 50 years? What can we point out and say, okay, this is what ECOWAS
Well,
achieved
Mboj
over
will
the
come
50
in,
years.
but I'll jump in first because I think in the first place, the name was a kind of handcuff, because what is it called? Economic community. It's not just about economics. It's about security, it's about trade, it's about everything else. But, you know, the fact that it's ECOWAS is, you know, economic community of West African states. So straight away, you know, they started sort of changing, you know, what it was all about. It wasn't just about economics. It wasn't just like, you know, originally you had the EEC, you know, which was about a sort of economic community. And then the European Union, they changed the name for a good reason, because it was more than about economics and it was more about trade. We haven't done that. We've kept the name, but what's peacekeeping got to do with economics? You know, that's more about security and so on. Although, of course, one thing impacts the other. And so 50 years is not a long time. When you think about it, one of the ones who joined was Guinea-Bissau. They only had become independent that year. So you know, it's a young country, and so the union itself, the bloc itself, is new, and it's young, and so over time it's faced challenges, arguably none more so than now, when you've had one country suspended, Guinea-Conakry, and 3 that are withdrawn. So, you know, and of course Mauritania exited a while ago. So it has faced challenges, but, you know, so when they talk about, you know, stronger together, that's more a dream still than a reality.
Well, okay, fine. I believe ECOWAS have done a lot.
Yes, sir.
In making sure Africa, especially West Africa, is united. But you can see sometimes people tend to sense there are other things that ECOWAS do. It's only to serve their interests. I mean, let's talk about term limits. Let's talk about presidents overstaying. Let's talk about certain things. I mean, exactly.
What should ECOWAS
so
do?
most of them will. Okay, fine. ECOWAS is not talking about term limits.
But can it? No, ECOWAS is.
Yeah.
ECOWAS actually recommends term limits, but individual countries have said they do not. One of the things, one of the biggest accusations about ECOWAS is that you can probably say, and you know, this is an accusation, I don't want to hog the thing, but this is an accusation that could probably be leveled at every ECOWAS country. How serious are they about signing up to everything? And I'll give you one example, the ECOWAS court. Theoretically, if a case has gone through the Supreme Court of any particular ECOWAS nation, you can then appeal that to a higher court, namely the ECOWAS court. And yet, how many countries have signed that protocol to say that the ECOWAS court will supersede their own court? None of them. And so when people take a case to the ECOWAS court, they're wasting their time and money because they will pass a judgment that cannot be enforced. We had it in Sierra Leone when Sam Sumana was kicked out as vice president. He took it to the ECOWAS court. They gave him a judgment. They awarded him 2.5 million. None of it happened. Why? Because Sierra Leone had not signed up to be bound by the judgments of that court. So,
it was always an issue, wasn't it? 75, just as you said, the primary mandate was economic. Cooperation, integration, and that sort of thing. But wasn't it just some years afterwards, the political aspects came in because of the coups that were happening, weren't they? Exactly.
Right.
So the political, the security aspects came in. That was really where the problem started.
That's right. Because even if you look at the founding fathers who were going up on the screen, I think 5 of them were military-led nations.
7.
Oh, is it 7?
Out of them, when I saw 7, including
so,
Gowon.
Yeah, Gowon,
so what about
they had ascended
Sekou Touré of Guinea?
What about him?
He assumed power by coup d'etat or election?
No.
He was elected, or he was
a dictatorship.
He took it over from his grandfather.
No, from the colonialists.
He kicked out the French.
So we have
1959.
We have Aliou Cisse, I mean, currently in Nigeria, Abuja. And he will take us through, because Aliou has been following the sittings of the ECOWAS Parliament for a very long time.
He's 25 years old.
And you know, it's important for us to hear from him, from the horse's mouth. Yes. Aliou, good morning.
Yes.
Hello, Aliou.
We still having the technical problems. It would be nice to know how they kind of framed because amongst the celebrations that are taking place, Gowon will be there, the only surviving one. It will be there with Tinubu, the current, of course, Nigerian president. Because they're meeting in Abuja.
I think Aliou is experiencing a network problem in Nigeria. So therefore, we are recommending QCell to move to Nigeria. Sunyu boss, I mean, why not? 5G network, the only 5G network in Nigeria. We can move there.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So Julde, ECOWAS, I mean, are you impressed with ECOWAS activities in West Africa? Even the ECO, they cannot allow us to they cannot implement the ECO, and Mr. Ade and Mr. Mboy telling us they've not achieved a lot.
I was going to come in, especially as a Gambian, after you. First. After you, we'll be back there. We'll be there.
I mean, to some extent, yes, in other areas, they have really succeeded. But again, the question is their vision of economic integration, have they really achieved that to some extent? Because we know that the African Continental Free Trade Area, it's here and it has not been realized. And we also know that the monetary union has been here as well, and only few countries really meet the criteria to actually be qualified.
To get our own, the ECO.
ECO.
As it was going to be.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, I mean, to some extent, you know, politically, not really, because we know that now Mali, Burkina Faso, Niger, they are out. They already form what they call Alliance of Sahel States. And Mauritania, it's out. Guinea as well.
Guinea
so
suspended.
It's suspended. So it's only a few countries that are left. For me, I think what I've always argued, what I always think that it's a problem with ECOWAS is that it's been run by president, heads of state, and we know how Africa is. How, I mean, President Barrow is a friend to President Diomaye Faye, and any issue that happened in Senegal, maybe, just maybe, President Barrow will be in for President Diomaye Faye. So for me, I want to believe that it should be run by technocrats.
Are you Gambians, both of you?
No, we are Gambians.
Without ECOWAS, do you think we would have had the transition?
No.
From Jammeh to Barrow without ECOWAS?
That is a success.
That is a huge success.
Well,
we are not saying.
You're telling me it's not successful.
We are not saying they have not done anything.
We are not
no,
saying.
You are implying.
But the level they are going, we are not
we are
very.
not saying. Like
I am not very
they have done,
because I'm beginning to doubt.
I was going to come to that because I mentioned when I started, I said they have done well in some areas, but they did not do well in certain areas. So I just started off with where they did not do well. So I was coming to where they did well, including our own Gambia, where they led the transitional, you know, justice process, where they, you know, ushered in a new president and helped us. And still they're here. The economic forces are here after, you know, 8 years into President Adama Barrow's leadership. So they've really contributed a lot. And we've seen that also peacekeeping mission, they're doing it in other countries as well. And even here, the economic contingency in the Gambia, they're doing a lot of voluntarism here in the Gambia, you know, helping in medical issues, helping in, you know, cleaning exercises and all of that. So they're doing well in that aspect. But what I'm saying they're not doing well, I think they should really look at that. It's the issue of economic integration, especially, you know, trade when it comes to the African continent or West Africa to be really to be specific, you know. So they
and they failed on free trade as well.
That's what I'm saying. The African continental
free trade.
There is a notion of free movement.
Yes,
yes, you're right. Only 15% intra-regional trade. That we know they have to improve on that. But let's not forget that the East African equivalent, it collapsed.
Yeah, quite.
Immediately after. It was formed first, 1967, wasn't it? That sort of thing. These things are really very, very difficult.
Yeah, right.
You are really underestimating so much. Hence, the harshness of your judgment. Because you really underestimate the challenges faced. You've got here, what, 15, then it was 16 when we started, before Mauritania left. These newly independent states, within them, not quite stable, the instability within. You know what I mean? So ECOWAS is really like a chain, isn't it? A chain of countries. And a chain is as strong as the weakest link.
But when you are weighing...
it was always difficult.
Mr. Mboj, when you are weighing, okay, the level they've gone when it comes to success, I'll name some of the things that they failed. They failed on trade, they failed on infrastructure, connection of roads and bridges, they failed on monetary union, they failed on electricity and grid connection.
Yeah, we're not saying they've succeeded in everything.
Who told you that in your phone?
Yeah. But not only that.
Well, it's obvious, Mr. Mboj. Mr. Mboj, this is obvious.
Be careful.
We are all seeing it.
The answer is mixed.
It's a mix, and that's the point. And because you're now saying, because earlier I accused you of having said they failed, and now you've said you've confirmed that is your view, actually, and you weren't even entertaining the successes. And what I was saying is that 50 years is no time at all, and the reason you might say it has failed is because we, the countries that make, as he says, you know, only as strong as its weakest link. If we are saying, you know, for example, when Mauritania pulled out, or when Guinea, term limits, they can't impose term limits if the countries that make up ECOWAS said, we don't want term limits. what can ECOWAS do? Oh, yes, you must. No, they can't send in a force to impose term limits on any country. So we, the countries that make up ECOWAS, if it succeeds or it fails, it's because of us. Because we either buy into the idea or we don't buy into the idea. And that's why ECOWAS. So it's not that ECOWAS has failed.
So we failed.
Exactly.
We've
when you say ECOWAS has failed, you're essentially saying that the countries that constitute ECOWAS have failed.
Because, like I said, I gave the example of the ECOWAS court. If none of these countries are bold enough to sign the protocol that says, I will be bound by, what can ECOWAS do? ECOWAS can't send in the military to enforce that.
We have a video of British boy. I mean, he was also giving his speech. When I say British boy, you know who I'm talking about, Sir Dawda Kairaba Jawara. My grandpa will tell me,
talking about,
we used to call him British boy.
I think he's talking about the intervention in Sierra Leone. Yeah.
You know, our grandpeople, I mean the grandparents, they were so fascinated with Sir Dawda's English language, the command of the vocabulary. I mean, they forgot about to govern the country. So all they talk about is, you know, this guy can speak, he's good, his English is good. I mean, they forget about his governance.
So are we going to see a clip?
Yeah, so we're going to listen to his video. We'll be back.
By 1990, our region was in deep trouble in the many parts. Considering the situation, the security and peace situation in our sub-region, that we decided in conference to form the ECOWAS Mediation Committee, ECOMOC.
When the request for assistance to end the crisis was made, first by Liberia and then by ECOWAS to our influential partners, they refused to intervene on grounds that it was an African crisis requiring an African solution, meaning Africa should handle its own problems. It was Nigeria and our other West African states which led the bold step to encourage intervention to stop the slaughter and genocide being perpetrated.
What helped us, apart from all other things, was that the leaders of ECOWAS were united and they were never tired of night upon night negotiation.
Yeah, so we are back. I mean, I am happy to see the likes of Ellen Johnson Salif and of course Sir Dawda Kairaba Jawara. And it's true, Sir Dawda's voice is good. His command of the language is amazing. And Olusegun Obasanjo. I cannot pronounce his name.
Yes.
Yeah, so I mean,
former Nigerian president.
Exactly.
And they're talking there about intervention in Sierra Leone and Liberia.
African problems need to be dealt with by
Africans.
You know.
And you know, what Trump is doing now in America is also another reality check for us that, you know, we should try and think. What happens in Ukraine, you know, about people screaming all over Africa, oh, we can't get any wheat. Small Ukraine is feeding Africa? Come on, that's a joke. So there are many things. You're right that there are lots of things that ECOWAS should have done, have not done, but let's not pretend they haven't done anything. Because they have. It's just that the task is not a small one.
Easy one.
And it's not an easy one. And we are the ones who are making it not easy. Because, in fact, when ECOWAS came out with a statement that they wanted there to be term limits, I thought that was very unwise. And also when Niger, and they threatened to send in troops into Niger, that was also very unwise. It was never likely to happen. We had a discussion here on QTV, and I said it's not going to happen. People say, oh, they will, because they weren't going to do that. You can't force people. And the reason Guinea has been suspended, of course, is because also they have a military government that has not still given a timeline for when there will be civilian elections.
And when you look at the history of ECOWAS, it's quite interesting that they're just so intolerant of dictators. Sani Abacha was one time head of ECOWAS. Yahya Jammeh was one time head of ECOWAS. Can you imagine?
Shaka Stevens, when we had a one-party state,
you
know, was one time. You know, so yeah, and of course, you know, we mentioned Yakubu Gowon, you know, the only surviving one of the founding fathers.
But this is the problem, though, isn't it? Because with these countries, for instance, look at Cote d'Ivoire right now with Alassane Ouattara. What did he do to the constitution for him to serve another term? Nobody said anything from ECOWAS. So when there is bad governance, that's the incumbent, as it were, they wouldn't say much. But as soon as these young soldiers take up arms, take up the state, they say, no, we don't want that. Then they can come in.
They don't mind constitutional coups. What they don't like are military coups. You know, but a constitutional coup where you fiddle with the constitution to serve yet another term, that's equal. That's as bad as any military coup, to be honest.
So they should be consistent. With this, so that they can regain that authority with the people. Some people will say that now it has turned into a union of heads of state instead of a union of people.
That's what I'm saying.
Return to the people, as it were. And you get the sense that now they've got it, especially with the split. With this split now, it's a massive wake-up call.
It's a big-time wake-up call.
And
I think, is it Congo or Togo? Which one wants to join the
Togo wants to join.
Togo wants to join the Alliance of Sahel States.
That's right.
And maybe, who knows, maybe Mauritania and Guinea too. And next
no, Guinea were invited and they backed down.
But maybe they will reconsider the way it is going.
Quite. Dynasty, you know, they've created their own dynasty.
Quite. You know, Nyasingbe was there at the founding, and now his son is the president.
Now his son is there. Would ECOWAS say anything about this sort of dynasties that they want to create there? Well,
they should watch
it's a pity we weren't able to get hold of Aliou Cissé because of technical problems. Because it would have been good to get that insight, because the Parliament has been discussing this very matter this very week. So, you know, it would have been really good.
Well, it's according to our director, it's an internet problem in Nigeria. So you can see how we want QCell to go to Nigeria and make a difference.
That's right.
You know,
absolutely.
Exactly. So thank you very much, Julde. We'll end the segment here. Mr. Momodou Mbouch, and of course, Mr. Adedrame.
Well, just the last question. So for you, is it a happy 50th birthday for ECOWAS?
Half and half.
Half and half for you?
Half and half.
Yes, something like that.
It's not bad, because I think in the beginning he would have gone for 90% no. But now we've taken him down.
That's convinced me. You see, that's why it's important for us to converse sometimes, you know, so that we can understand each other. So at least, we agree. So at this point, we'll take a short break. After the break, then the last segment of this program, we'll be back.
Kiumoni arti webi na fitora gol no yawi te non kadi no moƴƴi kiumoni a wawa wadde piiji ɗin fow kala ko wonɗa wattu kala a wawa hendade mbuuɗi maɗin e o kiumoni apke song a wawa nattinde mbuuɗi ma ɗum yaltina soda crédit soda kiw paaba soda ko falaɗa te non kadi wawa hen yoɓude himɓe e ko heewi iɗa wawi kadi nuldude kiumoni yoɓa bilji maɗin te non kadi hendoɗa mbuuɗi ko yaasi nulda himɓe kadi mbuuɗi fi nafitoragol ɗum no weeɓi yahu ka play store ma ɗum ka app store fi wawa fi heɓugol hen ko laaɓi noddu Q-Money customer care e 133 Q-Money suñu kalpe minen udditi laawol ngol si woɓɓe jokki Q-Money e muruntananne koteke anilañi mobile app sone yaringo alanna yata ndum e se kuwol be keno ibe dawoda wati wati e se munafanno ila kodola anin Q-Money la ñim mobile app kuto e se kodo dundino ye kodo fintinde e se credit ko sanno ye Q power sang ye fengol sang ndum fanan e se mol jono anin ku jamalu e se Q-Money kino ye la bilol jo ndum fanan bantala banko se kodo kiyeno e se kodo fanan kino do kotenye pour que munafanyina a download sign Play Store anin App Store ni la taka Q-Money customer care commandi 133 Q-Money suñu kalpe ntolle nga silo walang dole mol noma
Taking a break isn't about stopping. It's about recharging for the next stage. Welcome to our oasis.
Powered by Africa, Oris Energies.
Q-Money Delsina ak seen mobile app bu bees bii óor na gaaw na te it mun nga koo jëfandikoo pour def ci loo bëgga foo mun di ne waxtu bu ne mun ngaa jot sa xaalis ak Q-Money mobile app bu bees bii mun ngaa dugal xaalis génnee xaalis jënd si crédit jënd si Q-Power jënd loo bëgga ak yu bëri mun nga ci yónnee Q-Money fay sa bill si jot xaalis bitim réew yónnee xaalis ci noo ko bëggee looy def yomba na downloadal app bi léegi ca Play Store bu dul loolu App Store pour nga door pour am si lu leer koolal Q-Money customer care si 133 Q-Money suñu kalpe ñoo xaali yoon wi ñeneen toppa
We are back. You're watching QTV this morning. I am Ibrahim Balde. We head to the last segment of this program, and we'll be talking to Gambia Environmental Alliance. Called for halt to coastal island mining, and we have Momodu Ikeba, President Gambia Environmental Alliance, and of course Mustafa Jaju. Inland mine. Mining. Okay, we have Mustafa Jaju, Information and Communications Officer, Gambia Environmental Alliance. Gentlemen, good to have you here.
Institutes or forms the Gambia Environment Alliance. The main reason is to act as an umbrella body because we do know that communities and government cannot do it all by themselves. So of course this is where civil society organizations comes to play. Since inception in 2021, the Gambia Environment Alliance have done series of works and advocacy with regards to protecting our environment and also trying to mitigate the devastating effects of climate change through climate action. I'm looking at what currently is obtaining with regards to sand mining. The Gambia Environmental Alliance got series of reports from communities, from stakeholders, from concerned citizens. And we also tried to make sure that the information that we get is verified, and we try to talk to some of our members because the Gambia Environment Alliance, like I said before, has a coalition of 50 CSOs across the country. So it means we have presence in almost every district in this country. So to get information, it's really very easy for us. And some of our members actually did report that there is a lot of sand mining that is going on, and the sand mining has really affected the livelihoods of some of the women whose sources of lives and livelihoods is attached, to the wetlands, where the sand mining is taking place. So we saw that, and it's really very interesting, and it's also really very devastating. So as an alliance, we couldn't sit down and resign to faith. I mean, a wise man once said, to sit down or to lie down and resign to faith is madness. I mean, if you could do something about it, why not? And this is the more reason why we decided that we should blow the trumpet so that everyone knows, and those who are involved, especially the companies that are involved in the sand mining, will actually know that we are flagging the red light.
Yeah, exactly.
So, Mr. Jajo, has the government responded? I know you've made a series of calls to actually halt the activities of mining in the Gambia. Have they responded to your statement or positions or petitions?
Yep. Recently, we conducted a press conference, if you know about that. During the press conference, we have made mention that we will be petitioning the government and also some of the institutions like the Ministry of Environment, Ministry of Petroleum that deals directly with mining in the country, but also the National Assembly Select Committee on Environment. So these are institutions that we have petitioned, and already they have received their petition letters this week. So that is just some of the stages that we are going through. But we have a long way to go, because the Gambia Environmental Alliance, we have this stand that the environment need to be protected. But we don't do this alone. So we do it in collaboration with government and also other institutions like the community members, among other civil society groups that are in the communities. So we have submitted the petitions, now waiting on for the government to respond. The time duration that the Gambia Environmental Alliance have given to the government is within 14 working days for them to publicly respond to our calls to ensure there is accountability, but also there is transparency in whatever we do. As this is not for the alliance alone,
It's not just for the over 60 organizations that are under the alliance, but like this is for the Gambia at large. And we are at a stage that we have realized this mining issue was a problem during the previous government. And like we have seen, it has led to deaths. People were killed during due to these mining issues in the country. But like then, when people were pointing finger at Yaya Jammeh or maybe certain individuals, how many companies do we have in the country currently that are doing mining? So these are some of the issues that the Gambia Environmental Alliance have realized that we came to a point now that we cannot sit anymore to watch certain things continuously happening. As the president earlier mentioned, we have people in the communities, like we have representatives regionally and also some organizations that are under us, that is the CSOs, are directly dealing in these communities that have evidences, but also like they know the life realities of some of these activities that are happening in those communities. So we are not just maybe giving statement or coming out with speeches to maybe write beautifully and submit it to the government. This is why we also want to work directly with the government and even some of these mining companies to ensure that some of these activities that we believe are not right to be put to halt. But not just put to halt, but like to ensure there is a regulatory body and there is a transparent body to ensure all these mining issues and also some other environmental activities that we believe are not going right to be vet and also look into to ensure there is that smooth running of such activities to protect our environment.
So which areas are being affected by this mining?
Okay. There are a lot of areas affected, especially Kombo South. So if you go to Gunjur, Sanyang, Katong, they are very, very much affected. And recently, these other communities whose video you were showing me this morning?
Yeah, that is Sambuya.
Around Brikama, around Sambuya. So these are communities that are really affected. And then I think the reason why we are engaging government, because as CSOs, we don't work in isolation with government. We've always had fraternal relationship working with government, and that is why we are able to achieve a lot together. So we intend, to seek audience with the government, and we intend to engage them in this matter. And I think a proper environmental impact assessment needs to be done, and that can be done through the National Environment Agency. There's an institution that has the capacity to be able to conduct a proper environmental impact assessment. Because when mining takes place, it is always considered that after the mining, the companies that are responsible for the mining rehabilitate the land that they have already destroyed. Looking at what obtains in the Gambia, it seems that there are no regulations. Like Gaj, for instance, let's say, I will just give you a practical example just so that the viewers, the Gambian people understand. So if you give a company a license to mine, let's say 300 meters square, that is the land they are given to mine. After finishing the 300 meters square, before they move to another land, they need to rehabilitate and maintain and restore this other land back to normalcy. And this is not obtaining, this is not happening. So if you
that is what the law says.
That's what the law says.
But that is not what is happening.
That is not what is happening. So they just keep destroying the lands. When the sun is finished here, they move. When it is finished, they move. So they will keep moving and falling down trees, destroying biodiversity, and also, encroaching into farmlands that women used to use as gardens. We all know that, the food basket of this country with regards to vegetables is in Kombo South. So the women of Kombo South actually are the people that are feeding the rest of the country with regards to vegetables. So the only time or the only way that they could continue feeding the country is when they have access to land. So people say you eat what you grow and grow what you eat. That can only happen when you give women access to land. If you don't have access to farmlands, forget about farming, forget about agriculture. So this is why we are so adamant that the miners keep restoring or rehabilitating the lands that are already used, and the National Environment Agency or the National Assembly, especially the Select Committee on Environment, should make sure that they guide these people and they abide by the conditions of their license. Because there are conditions attached to every license. But the conditions of the license are not, they don't abide by those conditions. And the regulatory bodies, that is the government, is not also making sure that these people abide by
So you
by
want
those.
to tell me there is no proper monitoring mechanism?
Yes, I would say there is no proper monitoring mechanism, because if there was, we would not have been talking about what we are talking about today.
So you sent the petition to the relevant government authorities, and you give them 14 days to
yeah,
respond?
14 working days.
14 working days to respond. What happens if they don't respond?
We have stages in this because, like, as we said, we are not doing this alone. We're doing this in collaboration with the government, also the relevant stakeholders like the National Environmental Agency, and also even the companies that are dealing directly. Because, like, we believe that maybe making speeches and counter speeches will never solve any issue in all these situations. And also it is important to clarify this to the public that the Gambia Environmental Alliance is not responding to a report. We are responding to a crisis that report that is made by the Republic has engulfed. That we believe there is high time we take a step against it. And recently, as you can see, like in places like Katong, some people went on the social media that they are going to set trucks on fire that when they go to those areas to maybe collect or mine sand and all that. So, but should we wait until we see people being killed? So this is the stand that we have realized that we can do it with the government. We can do it with even the mining companies to ensure that, like, all the licensing companies that we have that are doing mining either in the Combo South area or any part of the country are licensed. But, like, how did they process their licensing? What guidelines do they have? And also, what is the agreement between them and the communities that they are mining from? But we have people from those communities that will tell us like some of these promises that were made are never met. So, you know, these are some of the things, like, we are here talking, but, like, we don't know actually what those communities are planning tomorrow. So should we wait until that disaster came? So this is why it is very important, like, the government need to respect that petition, and, like, us at the Gambia Environmental Alliance, we are not relenting on this until we see that our demands are met.
Exactly, until we see our demands are met. I mean, so how often do you engage these parties? I mean, probably you tell them, okay, fine, the things that you are doing is causing more harm than good. Do you engage them often, the miners?
That happens because, like, us as Gambia Environmental Alliance, as we mentioned earlier, we have over 60 environmental organizations, and the organizations that we have in areas that are dealing in these mining issues, maybe like in Combo South, like, they are very active in those areas. When it comes to activism in the environmental sector, you count Combo South as one of the major weighted environmentalists in the country. So engagement is done, and we have people on the ground that are doing those assessments. And us at the Alliance, we are even on plan to go to these communities to meet them on discussions about some of these issues. Yeah.
I wanted to ask, how has the local community responded to your call?
It's very effective, but, like, sometimes the problem is, I can still recall there was a time we met with some government officials. What they will tell us is that when they meet this, maybe like when certain complaints came to them, they went to these communities to engage with them. What they will see is, like, they will tell them these companies are doing good for us and all that. So, like, it is sometimes challenging. But, like, consider how many people out of that community, maybe just handful, will come out of the community to say they are in support of those companies that are doing these mining activities also. So the government sometimes will take that as an advantage to say maybe the people of Gunjur want these miners to remain here because they are benefiting this and that and that and that. But, like, go on the ground, assess, go through their licensing procedures, what activities they are doing, what benefit are those people having there. So basically, I think this is also very important to note from the aspect of the community.
Ike, what is going to happen if mining continues, Julde?
Okay, I think we are trying to check ways in which we can put these people to check. We aren't against mining in totality because industrialization actually comes with development. I mean, but we just need to carve ways where development, you know, simultaneously moves with protecting our environment. I mean, we are not against mining in totality. We are just against irresponsible mining, like I said earlier. You know, him talking about communities, in fact, these minings have brought a lot of disputes in communities. So in certain communities, you look at the beneficiaries, the direct beneficiaries from the mining companies are the people who keep chanting that we need the miners here. But the rest of the communities, over 70 to 80% of the people who don't have direct benefits from this are people who will tell you we don't want this. So, I mean, like he said, if government goes and talk to people who are direct beneficiaries, who probably are given money by the Chinese or Gaj, and probably some of their family members are employed, they will definitely tell you that we need these mining companies to be here. But if you talk to the other people, the majority of the population, they will tell you no. So, in fact, there are disputes among communities who have once been a very close-knitted community. For instance, in Gunjur, we all know that they are a very religious community, and Gunjur has been, you know, a community that people can look up to when it comes to cohesion, that is social cohesion. But recently, as a result of these fish mill factories and the sand mining factories, there are a lot of disputes in Gunjur. So I think the sand mining is not done correctly. We are not actually against mining in totality. We are against irresponsible mining.
So in that case, what is the Alliance proposing in terms of economic activities and development strategies that are more sustainable to these communities?
I think what is more sustainable to the communities, like I said earlier, since they are farmers, is to give them access to farmlands that they could continue farming without no disruptions or any disturbance or any interferences. That is more sustainable, because, you know, I don't see anything more sustainable than that. And, you know, we're talking about mining. It's true that it's the topic of discussion, but there are a lot of issues that are embedded within mining and within environmental destruction, because we also have the fish mill factories. We also have, you know, the trawlers. The Chinese are fishing in our waters. The EU, the European Union, is fishing from our waters. They are competing with the artisanal fishermen are competing with our local fishermen. So you will realize that, you know, they are taking most of our fishermen off their jobs, because if you paddle for long hours and come back with a small catch, you know, with time you will have to look for other things to do. So it means they are technically pushing our people off their jobs, and they are taking over all the jobs. So there are a lot of issues with regards to the environment that we need to correct.
So in terms, because you did mention that you're not against mining in totality, but you're against irresponsible mining. And in terms of environmental restoration, how do you think these mining companies can go about restoring the environment, especially where they mined already?
Thank you. This is why I said the policymakers and the enforcers, that is the government, through either the Ministry of Environment and Climate Change, or through the National Environment Agency, or through the Departments of Parks and Wildlife, whichever institution of the government that is responsible for this, need to make sure that these people abide by the conditions given to them when they were issued license. And among the prime conditions that was given to them when they were issued license is for them to rehabilitate every land. We all know that mining destroys, because you keep digging the sand, taking it away, it also brings erosion. So the rehabilitating this land is number one, so that after rehabilitating the land...
Can it be rehabilitated?
It can be rehabilitated.
It can.
Yes,
After
but they don't want to spend
mining
much. Exactly, they don't want to spend money on rehabilitation, because of course it costs you know, money to rehabilitate and a lot of resources to rehabilitate. But when you destroy, you need to rehabilitate before moving to another area and destroy, keep destroying all the time. Yeah.
Well, so in that case, I think the advocacy, awareness creation needs to be done in order for people to actually know what is happening. What is the Gambia Environment Alliance? What have you been doing in terms of creating that awareness among communities to actually know what to do when things like this happen? Because we know that it's Combo South, but we don't know which community is next target for these mining companies.
Yeah. We have our engagements across the country, and sensitization, I think that is one of the major activities that we do. I know we do a lot of cleaning exercises too, but like sensitization also is our major activity, is part of our major activities that we do across the country. Most recently, you can see we have been through some of these areas in Combo South, like Sanyang, Gunjur, and also in Katong, to assess some of these activities that are done, most especially on the aspect of fishing. And like under some of the maybe CSOs that we have in the riverside that are doing maybe like data collections and other relevant information collections around that end. So for engagements, I think that is why we are coming up, since we are taking this bold step against mining, that probably next week, inshallah, we are going to meet some of these communities, whereby we are going to have engagement with them with our stance and also some of the things that we are currently doing when it comes to the sand mining in the country. So that is something that we are strong on.
What are some of the challenges that the Gambia Environmental Alliance have been confronted with?
Most especially, just as I said, sometimes you go to these communities, most especially we have a complaint we made to the government. So maybe government see that they are going to the communities to talk to them. Few people come out to show banners that we are in support of this. It's a major challenge that we are faced with. So sometimes it's really challenging, but it is also making things very difficult, because like when it goes into the communities too, most especially in most of these villages, what we came to understand is that the VDCs, that is the village development committees, will be working directly with these companies on the mining or any other activities that we believe are not doing right on that end. So it's sometimes very challenging that those people, probably maybe the pocket money that they're collecting from those people will make them back, or maybe stand to defend those mining companies anyhow they feel like. So that is something that is also creating maybe dispute among those people in the communities too, that some people in the community will come up to say the mining companies are destroying our land, but still the VDCs will stand to say what they are doing is right. Just recently, yesterday, we have seen on the newspaper that a community leader making certain statement that they are in support of the mining, and also all what the investigative report was containing is lies and all that. So sometimes it's really challenging.
I know. Yeah, so thank you very much, gentlemen. We've exhausted the time.
Thank you.
Mining, I mean, we should be able to mine responsibly. There was a time I went with the Gambia Tourism Board to visit the TDA. I went to a community and I saw palm trees were uprooted, you know, very irresponsible. The way I saw it, and I wasn't very happy. When you talk about mining, I still have that mental picture. You know? So thank you very much, Ike. Thank you very much for coming, Mr. Jaju. And we hope to engage you more in the future.
Thank you. Thank you. We highly appreciate that.
All right, Julde, this is all we have.
Yeah, until we come your way tomorrow.
Tomorrow we'll be back here again. And this morning show. But we will do that next time.
Yes.
Yes, so enjoy the rest of our programs. Bye.
Yes, it is.